everybody, Miss Hester here along with second period. Say hi.
Hi.
We're going to be talking about rational numbers and adding and subtracting along with multiplying and dividing. So we're going to start our notes like this. Title it Rationals, Add, Subtract at the top, and make a T all the way down to the bottom to separate the two sides. Okay, first I'm going to start with your basic integer rules. If I've got a 3 and I add 5 negatives, what is my answer going to be? What do y'all think? Negatives win by how many?
2.
So the answer is -2. So you're going to solve just like that. You look at the signs. If they're the same, positives, positives, you get more positives. Negatives, negatives, you get more negatives. But if they're different, they're going to cancel each other out, and it looks like the negatives are going to win because they have more by 2. Now, if I throw in some fractions into this, like 3 1/4 plus parenthesis -5 1/2. The same rules will still apply. If I have 3 1/4 and I add 5 1/2 negatives, who's going to win this battle, the positives or the negatives? The negatives. So I know my answer is going to be a negative. But what do I do with these two numbers to find the number that goes with it? Add or subtract? What did I do with these two numbers to get to a 2? Subtract. So I'm going to subtract these two numbers to find out what my number part of the answer is. So I'm going to put 5 1/2. I like setting up fractions vertically when I'm adding and subtracting. And 3 1/4. I'm going to subtract those two. Now with fractions, adding, subtracting is easy, you'll see, but first you got to find your LCD word, least common denominator. So this denominator is 2, this one's 4. What's our least common denominator? No, it's not 2. 2 builds up to 4. So they have to have a denominator that's in common. So I'm going to build the 2 up to a 4 times 2. What I do to the bottom, do to the top, times 2. So 5 1/2 is now 5 2/4, and I'm going to take away 3 1/4. So let's do the fractions first. What's 2/4 minus 1/4? 1/4. 2/4 minus 1/4, I have a quarter left over. And then what's 5 minus 3? 2. But did we say our final answer would be a positive or a negative based off of this? A negative. -2 1/4. Put a bubble around it. It makes it official. If bubbles are too girly for you, you could put a lightning bolt. You're a wizard, Harry. All right, I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to switch colors and draw a line. Like that. Okay, so that was addition. Now we're going to do subtraction. -6 take away 7. What should I do when I'm subtracting here? LCO, good. So, purple. So I'm going to switch colors to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to do a leave it, change it, opposite, and I'm going to circle the subtraction that I'm changing. Okay. Now my new equation or expression is going to be -6, leave it, change this minus to a plus, and what is the opposite of 7? -7. So what's 6 negatives plus 7 negatives? 13 negatives. -13 will be our answer. Okay, now what if I add some fractions into this? I'm going to use the same -6, but I'm going to put in a third, and then I'm going to subtract 7 again, but I'm going to put 7 1/2. Would I still do LCO? Okay, switch to my purple real quick. So I'm going to leave it, change the minus to a plus, and then opposite. So my new expression, leave the -6 1/3. Change that minus to a plus. And what's the opposite of 7.5? Negative 7.5. You're so smart. Now, if they're both negatives, what am I going to do with the numbers? Am I going to add them together, or am I going to cancel out and subtract them? What am I doing? Add them together, because they're the same sign. So negatives plus negatives give you more negatives. So let's line that up vertically. 6 1/3. 7 1/2. Add them together. Adding, subtracting is easy, you'll see, but first you got to find your LCD. What's a common denominator that 3 and 2 can build to? 6. So 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. Then the 1/2, 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, let's add those together. What's 2 6 plus 3 6? 5 6. That's hard to say. And 6 plus 7 is 13. Now, would our answer be a positive or a negative?
Negative.
Negative 13 and 5 6. And we're done. Questions? Nope. Okay, I'm going to switch to a different color. I'm going green. Just make these all colorful notes. Like my favorite pony, Rainbow Dash. There we go. I think we can fit one more on here. Okay, here's my question. What is 2 minus 3? Nope, that's 3 minus 2. Negative 1. Now, remember, LCO, leave the 2, change the minus to a plus. What's the opposite of 3? Negative 3. So you have 2 positives, 3 negatives. The negatives win by 1. So I've been doing fractions on the rational numbers. Now I'm going to put in some decimals. Instead of 2, I'm going to do 2.75 minus, and instead of 3, I'm going to put 3.5. Now, do you think our answer is going to be a positive or a negative here? Negative, because we only started with 2 and change, and we took away more than that, which is going to put us in the negatives.
Now they owe the bank some money.
So, right, they owe bank money. I always owe bank money. LCO, even if it's a decimal. Leave the 2.75. Change this minus to a plus, and what's the opposite of 3.5? Negative 3.5. I put the parenthesis to separate the plus from the negative sign so it doesn't like blend. Okay, so just like before, we subtracted the 2 and the 3 to get the 1. I'm going to take the 3.5. I'm going to add a 0 for a placeholder. Minus 2.75 and find our answer. Can I do 0 minus 5? No. So I must bottle from the 5, make it a 4, making that 0 a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Can I do 4 minus 7? Say no. No. So I bottle from the 3, it becomes a 2, making the 14 a 1. So sometimes you have to borrow. 14 minus 7 is 7. Decimal comes straight down because I'm adding, subtracting. You line up your decimal. And 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative, good job. Negative 0.75 is the answer. You can have the 0 or drop it. Either way is fine. So that's adding and subtracting. Next up, multiplying and dividing, which is like 4 times easier. Get it? 4 times. Okay. I thought it was punny. Oh, what should I start with? I think I'll start with orange. I haven't seen orange all day. Let me line this up, sorry. Make it nice and straight-ish. Alright, so title it Rationals. Multiply and divide. Okay, I'm going to underline it, and then I'm going to draw that T all the way down again. And then I'm going to switch to green. Just for a moment. Ew, green. It's like disgust on that movie Inside Out. I was supposed to be disgust for Halloween. I missed it. Okay, at the bottom, let's go ahead and draw our Illuminati triangle for our integer rules when we're doing multiplying and dividing. Here. And at the top, put a plus. And on the bottoms, put a negative and a negative. Just to remind you, what's a negative times a negative? A positive. What's a positive times a negative? And what's a negative times a positive? Negative. What's a positive times a positive? A positive, just like normal. Okay, now that you got that to remind you. Yeesh. Okay, I'm going to go back to orange. Okay, a simple problem. What is 4 times negative 3? Anyone? Bueller? Everyone. What? Negative 12. Good. So negative 12 is that answer. So the integer rules will still apply when we're doing rational numbers. Say I've got 4, but now I have a half, times negative 3, but now I have a third. I do. Okay, so multiplying fractions ain't no problem. It's the times the top and the bottom times the bottom. Word. But what do I have to do to these mixed numbers to only have a top and a bottom? Texas two-step. Good job. So put a T, put an X. Put a T, put an X. So we have adding and multiplying. Multiplying comes first. What's 4 and 1/2 as an improper? 8 plus 1, 9 over 2. And we're going to put a little times. All right, Texas two-step 3 1/3. What's the improper? 10 over 3. Sure, it's going to be a negative. So do I know in the end my answer will be a negative? So I'm going to make a little answer bubble down here. And I'm going to put a negative. Now I don't have to worry about the sign. I can just do the math. Top times the top, I get 90. Bottom times the bottom, I get 6. And I can do 90 divided by 6. Or can I cross reduce?
Yes. 10,
yes.
9 and 3 and 10 and 2.
Well, let's do the 10 and 2 first. 10 and 2 can both be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 3 and 9 can both be divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. What's 9 divided by 3? 3. So then when I come back and do top times the top and the bottom times the bottom, 15 over 1, which equals, so my final answer is negative 15. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, I'm going to go to purple. Purple. Our ratio unit's coming and you're going to understand why I say purple. Everyone else, you'll just never know.
Why can't we call it purple?
Okay, we did a multiplying, now let's do a dividing. It looks blue on the screen, doesn't it? But it's purple.
Purple. It's not purple, it's purple.
No, you're calling what?
What's it called?
Violet.
Oh, it's upside down.
Purple.
Violet.
Purple.
Purple in the parentheses.
Purple.
Okay, that great debate's over. Let's get going. What is negative 9 divided by negative 3? What's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. What's 9 divided by 3? So the answer is 3. Oh, the simple days of yesterday when it was just integers. Now we bring in decimals and fractions. negative 9 again, but with a 0.75, divided by a negative 0.3.
Oh, snap.
Bum, bum, bum. Is our answer going to be a positive or a negative? Oh, hang on. Someone got kicked out of Zoom. Let me let them back in. Okay, it's going to be a positive, so I'm just going to make an answer bubble right here and put a positive because I know that's what it's going to be. Now I can just do the math. Okay, who goes in the house? The first one or the second one? First one goes in the house. First place goes in the house. 9.75 in the house. 0.3, I'm just going to call it a 0.3 outside. The first dog is the top dog who gets to go in the house. Okay, now I have to move it over. So I'm going to take this decimal on the outside, God bless you, move it up to the wall, God bless you again, someone's allergic to decimals. Now I moved it one place, so on the inside I have to move it one place. Bring it up, divide. Well, it's kind of messy looking, so to kind of clean it up a little bit, I'm going to rewrite it. I have a 3, I'll put it here, 3 on the outside, and on the inside, now I have a 97.5. 97.5. Is that a radio station? 96.5 and 97.9. The blocks. Okay, now I can just divide. How many 3's go into 9? 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract. What's left? 0. Bring down the next number, 7. And above that digit, how many 3's fit into 7? 2. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6. What do I have left over? 1. No, the point goes up. The point never comes down. Bring down the 5, though. How many 3's go into 15? 5. And then I have nothing left over. We're done. The final answer, positive, 32.5. Okay, so that's it. This will go in your notes. You're welcome to use it for today's worksheet. Let me stop the video. Say bye. Bye.